Welcome to the first Oh, okay. Yo. Welcome to the first episode of the Inside Wolves podcast, the People's Wolf Pack. And we are your full moon, your beacon of peace, heat clarity, and also heightening of your powers. Self
Yes, sir.
improvement, people. That's what we're going
Hey,
for here. I'd like to thank you for giving this the first episode and the beginning of this brand a listen. What Inside Wolves is self help, self improvement brand that we've started here. We're just some young gentlemen really looking to learn and guide people as they're looking for knowledge as well. We don't know everything, so we figured, reach out and we can help each other out. That's why I said people's wolf pack. That's what we're trying to be here for ourselves and everybody else as well. My name is Quinn. You can call me Q. I'm an aspiring screenwriter. I'm a digital artist and now podcaster. And I'm trying to, build a brand so that way I can branch out and actually begin, I guess, living my own life by my own accord, doing what it is that I love to do and really feel as though I'm put on this earth to do, which is help and provide positivity in people's lives. I'm going to go ahead and swing this off to my co-host and let them introduce themselves.
hey guys, how you doing? I go by the name of Juan. Pretty much the same thing. Like I said, like my other co-host said, we're all here for self-help. I myself am a young entrepreneur, involved in businesses on the side and everything like that of that aspect. And I'm also here just to help everybody else and also get help from you guys as well. Because like we said, there's a podcast for the people, Wolfpack podcast. So we help you, you guys can help us, and like I said, we're just ears to listen to, talk to. This is a good communication standpoint for everyone. So everyone here, everyone's voice is heard. And just thank you guys for coming to check us out.
Sir. It's your boy Jay. You can call me Hefe. You know what I'm saying? It's that podcast, coming real. Trying to give that real talk to you guys. So everybody listen up. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of things to uncover, you know, and it's gonna get real. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, on the topic of self-help and really to stay on theme with the brand and just in general, first episode, first topic, mental health. How important is that to everybody? Ourselves, our family, friends, and just people around us. But that's a pretty broad topic. So we want to go ahead and try to condense this and find a specific lane to jump into with this mental health. So what I've gone over with the team here is we've decided to go ahead and talk about the mental health on the grind. The mental health when you're going for goals and the going gets hard and it gets difficult and you're going down a road you've never gone down before, encountering challenges and different difficulties you've never had to do or face before. So I guess we're going to go ahead and start this back off with you, Javen, and go ahead through your own personal story or experiences that you have with this mental health on the grind. What you have to say.
Definitely, definitely. So appreciate that. Thank you for giving me the floor. Just gonna start just giving you guys a little bit of a deep dive into me, so that we can go ahead and uncover a lot of things here. So it's like any kid, growing up, you got your idols. You have people that you want to be like, aspire to be like, things that drive you to want to do certain things, to be great at certain things. For me, I love sports, as a lot of kids do growing up. Definitely love sports. So my favorite athlete was Allen Iverson, man. And a lot of people ask me like, why Allen Iverson? Like, what is it about him that wants you to be just like him? Well, it's that toughness, man. That heart, that grind, that grit. That no matter what, adversity, he throws at you. At the end of the day, you're not gonna give up. And so I always just wanted to embody that. And so, like doing so, I took that personally, and I took that in stride when I started running track. So obviously, I wasn't God's gift to earth, so it didn't start out great. You know what I mean? I was this little 5'7" kid, who didn't at all. Actually, then I time when you're 5'7", I was probably like 5'5". You know what I mean? Getting all the short jokes coming at me, so you already know what it is,
Right.
man. But but I just realized at an early age, man, that I just do not like losing, man. So I was on my baseball team starting out, and we sucked. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. We sucked. We played 20 games in a year. We went 2-18. We sucked. Shout out to Edgewood JV baseball. We sucked. So one fateful day was at practice. Me and one of my best friends, Leak. We was at practice and coach is like, man, I'm not even gonna lie to you. You guys didn't make the baseball team. Sure as hell wouldn't made the track team. You guys was fast. So took that into stride. I was like, you know what, deuces. I ain't playing baseball no more. I'm gonna take myself to track. So made the track team. The first year goes by. I'm not doing so hot. I'm not the fastest guy out there. And my main event is jumping. Once again, I'm short, so you can obviously tell that he's going up against other guys, and I'm talking about 6-foot guys. I'm looking up at you like this,
Right.
this, trying to go against you, compete against you. So sitting there trying to struggle and battle through that, and it got tough, man. It really did, because once you love something and you want to be so great at something and you're not doing your best, you get to that point where it's like, man, I don't even want to do this no more. And that's exactly how I felt, And it's okay to feel like that sometimes,
Yeah, I want to ask you, Javen. I got hatred of losing, and you talk about AI and resilience. How do you use that to motivate you, and how do you think others use that to motivate themselves as well?
Man, as far as like for me personally, like I just use it to always make sure that I never quit, and that I always get the best out of everything that I'm trying to do. At the end of the day, we can't all be millionaires. We can't all have instant success, instant results. But it just like being able to see somebody that literally came from nothing to be able to like fight through everything. I mean, as we all and a lot of people know, if you don't know, Allen Iverson had a court case, from a bowling alley accident, and if you don't know, you can always look that up. But just to have to go through something like that where you actually sentenced to jail, colleges is not calling them anymore, anything like that. He could have easily gave up, and who knows what exactly he was going through in that cell, man. And to be able to see that and to see his story and see that he never gave up, he always just tried to be the best he could be at anything he does. I mean, I had to embody that in my lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially against the unfair odds.
definitely, man. And with that, I mean, I just kind of took that and had that mindset. And my coach, we talked about it. He let me know, like, if you give up now, that's all you're ever going to do in life. Is when things get tough, you just going to keep giving up. So I had to really start grinding, man. And I really, started putting in that work to the point where now I'm running in the mornings before I go to school. I'm running after school. I'm going to the Y. I'm not just playing basketball at the Y anymore. I'm actually starting to lift weights and everything like that, trying to really get and shape my body to be a runner at this point, a jumper, and that was tough. It was definitely tough, especially at age was 15, 16, 17, trying to do that while everybody else is on Xbox, going to parties, going to the movies, like
Right.
damn it, I couldn't even really text Shorty like that if I really wanted to, because I had to, I
Having
had
to
to
make
get
those
the grind.
sacrifices.
Right, I had to get that grind.
It's a very important realization that you came to at a very early age, especially with the help of your coach as well, because that's something that a lot of people don't recognize, no matter how optimistic, no matter how creative, and no matter how God blessed they are. There's very tangible and little steps that amount to very big and powerful things going off. And those are the sacrifices that a lot of people aren't recognizing that they need to make. So for you to
Right.
recognize it quite early is extremely impressive. And it's something to be said for just moving forward in life in general.
Yeah,
All the little steps amount to big ground covered.
yeah, and man, it's tough. I mean, because
It's very tough.
with a lot of things, you know, realizing and understanding and accepting is always that first step. So, like you said, for me to be able to do that at an early age, I think that's what ultimately propelled me to actually start to do well and actually gain that success. So I started to see my grind pay off. Like actually started getting ribbons, getting medals. I'm in the A
Hmm.
team for relays. I'm, actually doing well. I'm actually like feared. Like you're looking at me, you see me on the runway, you're like, hey, I remember him from the last meet. Watch out for him. And it's
Hmm.
like to have that feeling, especially to be not as like the traditional looking jumper, to be able to give you that type of intimidation or know had that confidence. It was crazy. And then after that, you know, started getting offers from schools and stuff like that. So it became more of a reality, and I started to realize like, yeah, this is me. That's what I'm doing. So, finally get to college, and trust me, that grind changed even more than before. Like
Yeah.
it got 10 times harder that I had to grind because I'm exposed to more and more workouts that I was never doing before. Eating habits that I didn't have before. Couldn't go to Chick-fil-A every single day. If you know me, I love Chick-fil-A. Give me the number
Hmm.
one, no pickles. Like that's me. That's me.
So then, Javen,
So
I gotta ask, when you went
yeah,
over to college, how different and how much of an effect did these changes on your lifestyle really have on you and your mental?
yeah, it was tough. I felt like I was like mentally strapped, man. Like every to 24/7, I'm going and thinking about something like whether it be school, trying to improve myself academically, or physically, for track. And then on top of that, being 18, going away for the first time, went to school in Connecticut, so going away for the first time in the most extreme coldest place ever. I'm trying to see what everybody is doing, what's going on campus, because I want to be active. I want to be able
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
actually do things. And I did find some extracurricular activities to do while I was up there, as far as, pledging my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. So I was able to do that. Um, and as far as just like ultimate change, like, yeah, I understand too, when you get to college, it's like now I'm not the best on my team at this, that, and the third. It's like almost every single person is as good as me or better than me.
Yeah.
So it's like now I
I
gotta even
see.
train harder, you know? And I had that mentality that, like I cared about it so much, I wanna go to the Olympics with it. So that's what I told my coach, we had that understanding. Hey, I wanna go to the Olympics and I wanna do this. So, I'm trying to go through, make those changes and start working out like even harder. And then one fateful morning, I was with my coach early morning practice, like 6 in the morning, and I'm on the runway, trying to get it, and
All
hit
right.
that board, and boom, my hamstring just popped. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
everything changed for me. Like after that, everything changed, man.
Mm.
So as far as like after that, I just started to doubt myself even more and more. I didn't recover the way that I thought I was going to be able to recover. And
Mm.
because I was so involved in other things going on at the time, like and trying to be, that guy on campus and stuff like that, as a freshman at that, I just kind of lost my focus a little bit, and I wasn't rehabbing 100% the way that I should have. But ultimately, it got to a point where now scholarship is not on the option, not an option on the table anymore. School is expensive, as everybody knows. So,
Yeah.
to all them kids out there, everybody out there, make sure you get some scholarships, academic or
For sure.
sports related. Get it any way you can because you want to be able to go to school for free. So,
So I got a question then, Javen.
yeah,
After
man.
getting to college, grinding, missing out on parties and activities to get yourself in position to get on a team to take yourself to the next level, getting around peers that are on your level, and like you said, if not a little bit better. Through all of that, for something so unfortunate to happen, something that really you can look at as out of your control, really, would you do it again?
Honestly, man, yeah, I would. And it's crazy to say
Hmm.
that because, like, we going through an injury, man, it's tough. Like, I lost a lot of weight. I didn't feel like myself. Obviously, I wasn't myself when I got back to a healthy, quote unquote, healthy status, as far as like running and everything like that. But if I could had the chance to do it all over again, yeah, I would, man, because at the end of the day, it was a passion. It was something I was die hard for. Like, I wake up every day and I'm like, I realize I'm looking at, my roommate, I'm looking at the four corners in the wall in my dorm, and I'm like, I look at my track bag and I look at the Adidas logo. I look at the New Haven logo, and I'm like, I'm literally here at this moment because of this. Like if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be here at all. Not to say that
Hmm.
there's anything wrong
Right.
with that,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be here. Like this would not. I like this is everything to me. It's taking me places that I never got the chance to go, meet people that I never had the chance to meet. So yeah, of course I would, man. Like I watch
Thousand
Olympics
percent
every
worth it.
year.
1000% worth it. And that's and that's a lot of mental resilience. unfortunate events to fall upon you, but then for you to bounce back, that's, even if it's not in the same exact field, to bounce back entirely, just simply because a lot of people can even get complacent. Something that I
Right.
took notice of from what you were saying was when you got to college, you started working even harder and you moved
Mm,
the goalposts further ahead. Whereas a lot of people could definitely get to that point, recognize, oh, I made it. I'm good.
Yeah, and
All
then
right,
it's like that's it.
and just go ahead and start falling off. That you kept on pushing and you kept pushing until you couldn't
yeah,
push any further. And then once you got down, you didn't just stay down, you rerouted and went a whole nother direction.
trust me, it was definitely tough. You ask any one of my teammates, man, like they probably thought that I ain't fuck with them at all. And I'm gonna keep
Mm.
it a bang. Like I got there and I ain't talked to nobody. Like you're like, yo, who this little black kid? Like who's this little kid? Coming through? Like he
Yeah.
just he just working hard and practice. He ain't gonna say nothing to nobody. Like that's how
Kill
I used
kill
to be
Yeah.
mode.
thinking, man.
Locked
Right, I
in.
was in kid. What man? I was in my Kobe mode at that time, yo. Like I was ready to go, and unfortunately, I just didn't. I had a chance to really perform the way I wanted to because of injuries, but you know, everything happens for a reason. So like that's my message I want to take out of it. Like when it comes down to it, just gotta find that silver lining and everything, and find that reason. I'm a firm believer that things do happen for a reason, and maybe that might not have been the path that I needed to go
Yeah.
down to be able to do
Hmm.
things I wanted to do. I may not be here today, doing this if it was for that. So we just gotta take
Everything
from it,
happens
man.
for a reason.
Yeah,
Alignment. Alignment,
That's
alignment.
all it
Even
takes,
when it
man. Just
seems out of alignment.
all it takes is just look at everything from a different positive aspect. Like when it comes to something that could be a setback, just look at it and turn that setback to a positive. Like how can you work yourself back to get to where you want to be instead of just kicking yourself down like, that was my only chance. You take that and you just turn it into a bigger accomplishment, a better story for yourself.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Something I heard recently was that life is like a movie, but hey, the camera really is always rolling.
yeah.
Right,
Even when
right.
you mess up, even when you fall, you just gotta brush yourself off
All the
and try
all
it
the
again.
bloopers and all
I
It's
the
about to,
all
all
in
I
there.
was
all
just
that.
about to say. I know I
It's
All
got
that.
all
mad
in there.
bloopers.
Man.
I know I got bloopers.
It's all in there. Don't dwell on it. It's okay to acknowledge it, and it's actually healthy to acknowledge it. Let the emotion out, but don't dwell on it. There's no need to do that.
hmm
All right.
And so then we're gonna go ahead and switch it over to you, one. Thank you for what you said, Javen. That story was very powerful.
just to touch on another situation, a personal topic about myself. It's not sports related or anything like that, because at the end of the day, this podcast, like we said, is for everybody. So not everybody has a sports background or just any other background. Like I said, this podcast is for everybody.
The people.
The people. You know what I'm saying? So wherever avenue you see yourself being successful at, we 9 times out of 10 we can probably help you just like you can help us. But anyway, about myself, I want to say maybe the most recent um, probably struggle or battle I had for myself was probably around my 21st birthday when I purchased the car, my Dodge Charger. Um, especially in not even especially, but with how things are right now, definitely in Atlanta, like that car is so common. That car is so
Hmm.
common. So like the prices you'll see here is just skyrocketed, like really, really high. So when it came down to getting that car, um, for me, growing up, just being a kid, just seeing cars pass by, like loud muscle cars, or even like fancy cars, your Benzes, BMWs, Audi, stuff like that. But for some reason, muscle cars just always stuck out to me, especially Chargers. So seeing those cars pass by, and you always see them, they look nice. You know what I'm saying? They got like rims and spoilers and stuff on them, all types of stuff.
See through.
Everything that I would probably make on like Need for Speed or something like that as a kid. I just always seen it and I just loved it. So I just fell in love with that car. So when it came down to having like this first, I had the opportunity to have like the first car like that I own myself. And for me this was a big accomplishment when it come down to just doing something for yourself, man, like with no help. An accomplishment feels so great.
Mm,
So having a whole step by step playbook of how I ran down in my head because of how I wanted to purchase this car. Because for me, it wasn't like, most people who are in high school, like what they want to do. Me, it wasn't, I didn't want to go to the NFL. I didn't want to go to the NBA. I just wanted some money. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted money and I just wanted my dream car. Feel me? So it wasn't like I was gonna be like, I'm gonna go to the military so I can purchase this car, or I'm gonna go to college, work hard through college to just get a good job, to get that car. It was like I want to find a different route to where I'm still happy at what I'm doing, but I understand at that time it's still trials and tribulations that you got to go through. So, like I said, when it came down to getting that car, um, I purchased the car the month of my birthday. I purchased the car June 1st. My birthday came that on the 9th of June. So when it
Pretty good
came down
month.
to yeah, so when it came down to getting that car, I want to say I probably searched for about maybe 3 to 4 months, honestly, like searching and also working, working and stacking my bread up to the side to get that car. And when I tell you guys, like credit is really important, bro. Credit is really, really important.
credit.
Preach,
And
Hmm.
preach.
I don't think I don't believe I really understood that until it really came down to getting my car. Because even when I like got my apartment, it was still like a blur, like a okay
Hmm.
credit. What's that? You know what I'm saying? It was like it's cool or whatever, but like it wasn't something I was thinking on. I was still looking at money versus credit. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and I think that's very important to emphasize
yeah,
as well, is the
it
fact
is.
that you credit one is a very big thing, and they don't speak about that very much at all, really
Mm-mm.
at all in school.
That's not what
The
we're taught.
credit is a very big thing. I'd also
Not
like to emphasize the fact that you said 3 to 4 months of research and looking into what it is that you were about to actually purchase, while also during that time putting in manual labor. What a lot of
mhm.
people tend to do is they tend to put their dreams on hold or they try to put it on standby, I guess you could say, trying to accomplish one part of a many part process.
Yeah,
And you can multitask. It's going to be hard, it's going to be tiring, but
yeah.
that's just really what it takes to achieve higher end things that you want. So my question to you is how difficult was the mental battle versus the physical battle of this work during these 3 to 4 months you were doing it?
I would say when it came down to the mental aspect, probably came down to just even the search for the car, because
Hmm.
the prices was fluctuating at that time. Like they really were starting to fluctuate. They were just starting to go a little too high for what I wanted to pay for that car.
I
So
understand.
just looking day in, day out, I might save a car or I'm making different accounts with all these different websites like Car Guru or
Mhm.
cars.com and setting up profiles so that if there's a charger that came on the market,
Cars.com.
they instantly send me notifications, and then by the time I check notification or whatever, the car is sold, or I call them, and even though I got the notification, it's sold, or just anything other is wrong with it. Like so, when it came down to that, it was tough, man, because at one point I honestly got to the point where I was like, even though how bad I wanted the car and how hard I worked for the car. I was like, okay, maybe it's just not my time now. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and it got to the point where I was, doubting myself, saying like, okay, I'm gonna just settle, just like all the voices in the back of your head, or just other people telling you like, why not just settle for something, And when it comes down to me, I'm gonna spend my money on something that I'm happy with. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to settle when it comes to stuff like that, especially like very important purchases. You know
Very
what I'm saying?
expensive
So I
thing.
I, I didn't want to settle like how everybody was telling me. But like I said, it honestly did get to the point where I was doubting myself, not being able to find a car I wanted, not whether it be like I said, it was sold or the color or like even the mileage they were selling. Like the mileage was just really high on them. Like they were selling charges for like a 100K miles plus. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
I'm
wow.
like, I'm not about to put myself in no position like that. That just don't make no
Yeah.
sense.
All just to please an aesthetic thing, but when you look on the
Yeah,
inside of it, it's Oh man, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. So I can honestly say when it finally came down to the point when I found that car, it was a great feeling. I feel like everything. It was just something about when I looked at that car. I called them. Everything was cool and cordial on the phone, and everything was going as planned. You know, and the physical side for me honestly wasn't a big deal. Like I said, it was really mental because
Hmm.
the working overtime, 10 hours, 12 hour shifts a day. Yeah, I mean it wear down on you physically, but mentally it's just something about that feeling of accomplishing something, knowing you did it on your own and knowing it was something you really really worked hard for.
I think
So
that's real important to
yeah,
emphasize there is the
once it came
fact
down to
that
that, it was a lot easier.
exactly the physical work is really not even the hardest part of it. The
Mm-mm.
hardest part that you were really saying was more so just getting all these notifications, and it's the mental aspect. It's really getting played with emotionally, seeing a good card, the good deal, going to it, oh, gone. Now you got to
Yeah,
wait again. Oh, and now this one looks good. Everything's great. Oh, but they don't got the right
feel
color.
like you
And
back
then
at square one every
back
time.
over. That's the part that a lot of people got to really work on and get through their head. So for
I,
yourself, going through all of that, leading up to the night before you called the man, you said things were great on the phone, everything was in order. How did you feel the night before that you
Um,
purchase was looking to be made?
I honestly, like I said, I felt great, man. Everything it all aligned all at once. I want to say at that time, I think overtime probably was just ending at work. So regardless if I had overtime or not, you know, overtime definitely helped when it
Hmm.
came to the money aspect. But as soon as that was gone, it was like, okay, I still had to take my regular base check with no overtime, and put that to the side. But like that was just something different. But like I said, I felt great. Talked to the guy. He was cool, cool guy on the phone, cool guy on the phone. Um, like I said, everything worked out. It was the price I wanted. I bought it when I bought the car. It was at I believe it was just at 40,000 miles, and my
Not
car
bad.
is a 2015. But I mean, honestly, with the Chargers, you probably can't even tell the difference. Honestly, if you're looking at them, like multiple people will ask if that's a 19 or newer, only because of just how common they are, and the
Hmm.
body style hasn't changed. But I mean, that's besides the point. But like I said, that night it felt great. So waking up that next day, I went and did this on a Saturday, I believe. I believe it was a Saturday the next day, Saturday or Sunday, and I finally went there and checked out the car. As soon as I get there, the older white guy that I talked to on the phone, his name's Hollis. Older white guy I talked to on the phone, just kind of looks at me and like looks me up and down. So I'm like, okay, but like this is before I said like how you doing or anything like that. Like before I say anything like I'm trying to check out your car, anything like that. So I notice it. I still proceed. What I'm saying? Good evening, sir. How you doing? I called you yesterday about a Dodge Charger. I'm here to make that purchase today. First thing that comes out of his mouth is, uh, the type of payments you got to make in that car. You know what I'm saying? It's like instantly right then when he said that, I already had a feeling how this was gonna go.
And already knew what time it was.
Yeah, it's like you work, you do the physical aspect just to have another, and you do the physical aspect, and you also get through the other mental doubts that you had about yourself just to get to another situation right at the very last final push. You know what I'm saying? Right at the finish line. So anyway, we're talking. He's like, type of car payments you got to make. And me, I'm like, I'm not this guy who's gonna tell you I just got it like that when it comes to money or anything like that. But like the first thing I said was like money isn't the issue. But I wasn't coming off arrogant, like I'm having it like that.
Mm.
It's just like I was just offended because that's the first thing that came out of your mouth. It wasn't anything that I wanted to hear. Like that was just to me, I just felt offended. You know what I'm
Poor
saying?
hey,
Other
salesmanship.
people other people might not get offended by that, but me, I'm offended because I mean I'm not gonna play the whole y'all can take what you want from how I tell you how the whole purchase went, but like I'm not gonna give into the whole like I'm looking at you because you're different. If you know what I mean, as far as like,
Hmm.
you know. because like I said, he's an older white guy. But I mean, it is what it is. So like we're moving forward. And, I'm telling him, like money isn't the issue. And he's like, well, yeah, for a car like this, you got to put down like like 5,000. I'm like, so you're telling me I would have to put down 5,000 or 5,500? Because he took it even as high as like 6 bands. You know what I'm saying? Saying like, yeah, at the most you had to put down 6 bands for this car, only because of the type of car it is. And I'm asking him like, are you sure? Because this is only a 2015. I understand it has like a Hemi engine and all that other stuff. I understand that. But at the end of the day, it's still a 2015. This isn't, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
regardless of what year it is, you haven't even asked like what my credit score was. We haven't ran my credit or anything for you to say this. So at this point, I'm kind of just deterred, and I'm just like, I'm just like, all right, well, at this point, I'm that person where it's like, if something happens, I'm really quick to just be like, well, all right, bro, just whatever, and it only took for honestly probably the younger white guy. It was a younger white guy. I can't remember. I want to say his name was Jason. He just so happened to be there next to me when I was talking to Hollis, the older white guy. Like I stated earlier, he's the guy who owns a lot. He actually owns a lot. So I talked to the younger guy, Jason, um, and he's just apologizing because at this point, like once me and Hollis got deep into the conversation, I was just frustrated. So like he's just talking. I'm like, whatever, bro. Like whatever. Like just whatever. And he obviously isn't giving into it because I mean I can't speak on his behalf, but from what I perceive, it was just like another young black kid just in here just probably trying to waste my time when
Window shopping.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm window shopping, you know what I'm
you
saying?
check
Like
your
when
color
I'm
score,
here,
not your credit score. Check your
yeah,
color
you know what I'm
score.
saying? And I was like, I'm here trying to
Say
make a
ding ding ding
purchase.
dark.
Right. So I'm offended. I'm like, man, you know what? Like, regardless of how bad I want this car, I just felt like I was like, whatever, bro. I could find another one. Even though I know this was the only one I could find, bro. Like the only one I could find. And like I said, when I saw the pictures, everything was right from the color to the mileage to the just everything that probably was done like under the hood already. That stuff that I didn't have to spend extra bread on. Um,
It was the car for
but
you. What you
yeah,
wanted.
it was just for me, and everything felt right. And just for him to say that, I was just like, damn,
Come through on the
like
final stretch
on the final
after
stretch,
all
I was
that
like,
work.
well, I guess it ain't it
Right.
after all. Maybe I should have settled like everybody was telling me. So like that was another point where I started to mentally doubt myself. But like I said, I talked to the younger guy, Jason, and he took over from there. Just first thing he said is, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He's having a long day. He's having a long day, and he's honestly not like that. I don't want you to think of him that way." I'm just explaining to him, I'm like, bro, like regardless of if you're having a bad day or not, if you run a
Hmm.
business, you're supposed to treat everybody as like your number one customer. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
regardless of how they look. That man, I could have came in homeless. You know what I'm saying? I'm just so built upon not judging a person by like or judging a book by its cover. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of who you are, what you look like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna judge you, just based off of first looks.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I would just never do that. So he's explaining that, and I'm just like, well, that's just not how I move. So I can't even comprehend how somebody could be having that bad of a day to just take it out on somebody who's trying to shop, who's trying to make a purchase. You know what I'm saying?
Try to disqualify you before
Yeah.
even
So
anything else.
it came down to him just talking, me and him talking, and he probably got me hooked into the conversation. I was just talking about the car. I probably let him talk me into it. But at this point, I was still so much in love with that car, regardless of the issue I had with the owner of the lot. It was just still like, okay, well, maybe I could just see what's going on. You know. So anyway, me and the younger guy Jason were talking, and we decided to just go forward and just check my credit score just to see where it's at. So at the time, I went in there mentally thinking, my credit score is probably around like, in the 600s, like low 600s, like 620s, nothing higher than 625, 626 at best.
Right.
Because just months before that, I had just got my apartment. And like I said, even credit then wasn't like a big thing to me. So I was like, I mean,
Right.
obviously my credit was high enough to get an apartment, so probably 600. Not knowing at the time or not really looking in and thinking about it, like, okay, that should be good enough to get a car too.
Right.
But once he came back, like those months I was paying my bills on time and rent on time, my credit had jumped up to 727. And so
Say
for
for the people in the
me,
back.
yeah, for me when I thought about it, that's like that's a pretty good score. Like you could be
Yeah,
taken
that's real
serious.
good.
Yeah,
It's
seven
it's
seven
pretty
hundred.
yeah, it's pretty good. You know
Give
what I'm
me
saying?
700.
It's not common you'll find that have a credit score, especially when it comes to just young adults, and like anyone in their 20s, it's pretty rare, you know, because it's just not something, especially when it comes to African American community. Like we're just not taught that, finances and stuff like that, how, it might be for others, if you know what I mean, in like private schools and stuff like that, schools that have the funds to, you know, have, financial business classes and stuff like that. Like to us, stuff like that just went out the window.
Even just the
So
adults in
yeah,
life. A
yeah,
lot
in
of
life,
the adults in life work regular 9 to 5, either desk
9 to 5.
jobs or maybe even manual labor. So they don't even know much about it either.
Right, right. People just walking around with like 500 credit scores in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't know what they went through. I just am glad I'm fortunate to just make sure I was doing what it took to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
honestly, without the credit score, I honestly don't think I would have been able to get that car without a huge down payment. And for my car, I want to say I put down 25, so 2,500 for the car. Well, it might have been 3,000. It was one of the two, but it wasn't anything higher than 3,000. So once it came back to that, he tells me the credit score is 727. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? But still, with Hollis, the older white guy, still with him owning a lot, he still had to tell him. And I'm like, I mean, you could tell him I really don't care. It is what it is. Like, I'll just take my money and my credit score somewhere else. So at the time, even though I was purchasing a car from that lot, that car lot was still fairly new. So they didn't have many, like they didn't have a long history of car sales and stuff like that. So I remember how he was explaining to me, like I said, they had just opened up maybe a couple months before that, maybe 2 months at best before I showed up. So like I said, they didn't have many sales and stuff like that because nobody knew about them. So he tells Hollis, and the first thing he comes back, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. It's the older white guy. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I just really want to apologize for how I acted and how my actions were toward you earlier. When you first arrived. I just want to say I'm sorry. I'm just truly not having one of those days. It hasn't been much business. Pretty much just giving me a whole spiel of what's going on that I don't care about because I have no sympathy for you, bro. Like you just judged me as soon as I walked through the door. You know what I'm saying? So he's just telling me I'm sorry and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm just taking my money, my business elsewhere. And then the first thing he's like, well, I'm sorry, son. Well, what can I do to just get you to leave off the lot with this car? I told him, I said, well, we could see what we could do about these payments or just anything like that.
Mm.
I wasn't really looking at the aspect of the car of like what he could do to the car. I was just looking at, money wise, like payment wise and stuff like that. So I said, well, with that credit score, what would that make my payments at? My payments, I mean, I, I don't want to pay them payments now. I still don't want to pay them, but it's still a lot lower than what it would have been if I had walked in there with that 600 credit score. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
we went into that and it was somewhere where I could be like, okay, that's manageable, with all the other bills I have aside going on. I was like, okay, I can manage that, you know. But at this point, I'm still just talking. You know what I'm saying? I'm not signing. I haven't signed no paperwork. I haven't given no verbal confirmation that I'm purchasing this car. I just want to see how far along we can get, and to pretty much use this. I'm pretty much just extracting as much as I can get from him as leverage to the next dealership I go to. So that's where I'm at mentally. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm like, well, I could just go to the next dealership, even though I'm not gonna buy this car, even though as much as I want that car, and I know it ain't no other car, that I can get right now. Because
Hmm.
like I said, I definitely wanted this car before my birthday. It was gonna be my 21st gift to myself for all my hard work and stuff like that, and sacrifices that I have made. Whether it been, like I said, working those overtime shifts, so picking up shifts on the weekend to sacrifice, going to the club or something like that, or just any type of fun activities on the weekend. I'm sacrificing those to go get some extra bread at work. You know what I'm saying? To go get this car. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, that's just how bad I wanted it. And like I said, I was using it for leverage, and he told me how I can get the car payments at, and cool with it. I'm like, okay, well, thank you for your time. He sticks his hand out because he's thinking like, like like we're good, like we're gonna make this deal. I turn around, walk away. And
Hmm.
he's like,
That's
"Oh,
it.
well, excuse me, sir. Are you okay? Are we gonna move forward with the process?" I said, "No, no. Like, thank you though, but like, I'm good. I'm gonna just go somewhere else." Sir. I'm sorry. Well, what can I do?
Uh,
What can I do to get you to get this car today? So at this
Got
point,
him.
I can't even tell you how great of a feeling it felt, like how I felt. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
internally, to have
Hmm.
this man pretty much in the palm of my damn hands. You know what I'm saying? Because it went from me going to him as a buyer. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, what do I have to do? What do I have to put down to get this car? To him coming to me,
Right.
like, well, what can I do to sell you this car, sir? You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you should have treated me from jump.
Flip
So
the whole situation around.
at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna milk this. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try and extract whatever I
Oh, yeah.
can. You feel me?
Yeah, we gonna get him. Yeah, give him a
So
Hmm.
try. Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point, I ain't drive the car. I ain't test drive the car. I done drove like hella Chargers before and stuff like that, so they all the same. But I just haven't drove that one specifically. So like I said, I ain't get in the car. I ain't even start the damn car up. You know what I'm saying? Because I already got a mental aspect of how the car is supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
Even though I definitely should have checked it out, because that's probably stuff you should probably do. And when it comes to the aspect of buying a
Right.
car, I just seen this shit and I was like, you know what? I know I want this car. I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't
Charger,
care how it
man.
drive. I'm gonna put whatever I need to put, because that's just how I walked into it so
Yeah.
blindly, into that purchase, saying like, okay, I'm gonna get this car. But like I said, he comes back and he's sorry. What can I do to get you to drive off this car? At the time, the car wasn't 10 or anything like that. I'm like, it's no 10 on there. I don't, I'm not really feeling that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just pretty much just seeing where I can go with the conversation. He comes back and he's like, well, we can do in-house tent. I'm like, well, you got five. Because that's pretty much the darkest you can get. That's like limo tent and stuff like
He
that.
trying to be seen. He
He
ain't trying to be seen, people.
yeah, nah. So he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I have it, but I have to pay extra out of pocket. That's not my problem. You ask me, you know what I'm saying? You're asking me, what can I do to get you to buy this car? So, hey, bro,
This is what you can
it,
do.
this is what you
Right.
could do for me. You know what I'm saying? Just off the strength of how you disrespecting me from jump. You feel me? So I'm like, that's just what it takes. Anyway, we probably go with back and forth about that of him having to pay out of pocket for about maybe 5, 10 minutes. He did it though. He did it. And like I said, at this point, I still haven't signed no paperwork. I ain't signed no paperwork. I still ain't giving no confirmation. I ain't dapped the man hand, nothing. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I we was just he was still asking, okay, well, let's go get started on the paperwork. I said, no, I think I want to go out for a drive. I want to see how this drive first.
That
And he
one.
like
That.
he like, okay, well, we'll be out just in a second. I'll go get the tag and stuff. But when he was saying this, he was saying like the way he was saying it, like me and him finna ride together. Nah, bro. Like, nah, like we good. So I'm good. You know what I'm saying? At the time, it was me and my woman. I'm not finna have you in my back seat of a car that I'm possibly finna purchase. I don't need you in the car because you wouldn't be doing that for anybody else if they're purchasing a car. You wouldn't be doing that if one of your kin folks was trying to purchase the car or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, I'm just go out. Me and my woman just gonna drive, spin a block right quick, come back about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes max. I love it, bro. I love it. It's exactly everything I envisioned. Um, like I said, I just knew like the love I had for that car increased tenfold. So he comes back, um, after I already returned, and that, like I said, so at this time I'm looking inside the car. I really all I did was go down the street to the gas station, park, look in the car, and so on the way back, I'm noticing, it's kind of dirty back there, like in the back seat, like a little lint and stuff. So and the windshield wipers was it was kind of dirty. So I'm just looking at like, okay, so the car dirty, So come back, and he's like, oh, okay, you want to move it along the process? I said that car kind of dirty. You know what I'm saying? That car like what can you do? Because I'm not purchasing a dirty car straight off rip. You know what I'm saying? He's like, well, we're just about to close in a second, so I mean, I don't really. I said, I'm not purchasing no dirty car. I'm just not doing that. And definitely when my woman stepped in, he wasn't backing out of that. You gonna clean that car. You know what I'm saying? So he takes around back, cleans the car out, and he comes back again. Like I said, I'm still trying to milk the situation. I'm still trying to get whatever I can, regardless of how bad I want the car. So even like I said before we signed the paperwork and stuff, I noticed that the gas tank was probably at like half tank. I said, yeah, I'm gonna need that filled up too. I'm gonna need a full tank on my new car, on my car. You know what I'm saying? So he's looking like, well, he's trying to joke now, trying to make it seem like we cool, buddy, buddy. Nah, bro, we ain't cool, bro. I ain't your homeboy. We ain't friends. I ain't kicking it with you, none. So he like, yeah, gas prices kind of high right now. I could probably throw 20 in the tank. Now, if you know anything about like V8s and stuff like that, they eat up gas, bro. So $20 ain't none. You know what I'm saying? $20, especially if you, for those, even if you don't have a muscle car or anything like that, if you have like an Infinity or something like that, you'll be using like 93 premium.
Mm.
That ain't cheap right now. It's not cheap right now, bro. So he goes and tells me like, well, the best I can do is $20. I said, well, that's not good enough for me. I still ain't signed no paperwork. You not getting no money or anything out of me right now. So he's just kind of frustrated. He's like, well, all right, fine. He calls the younger guy, Jason, over. Jason, he's like, hey, man, what's the issue? I said, oh, nothing. Hollis, he finna go put some gas in my car. He just laughing because he see Hollis stormed off, frustrated. Anyway, he drives off, fills it up. It's at a full tank. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I think I'm done playing. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. But so after that, we move forward, and that's pretty much was it. Honestly, it was a smooth process after that, but it was just the fact of like not the physical work, but the mental aspect of looking for the car, not being able to find the car, finally getting a car that I
Hmm.
want, and it still being something else at my final last push or at the finish line that's holding me back, that's making me want to redoubt myself all over again. That made me, it just kind of like I was just like, nah, like I'm not gonna let this hold me back. I'm a push through this adversity because like at the end of the day, I still want this car. You know what I'm saying? So
And
that's pretty much how
and
it went.
and not only did you push through the adversity, you completely flipped it around.
Flip that
Hmm.
script. Flip
Yeah,
that script,
So
guys.
let me get
that's
this
all it takes.
straight again for myself and those listening. You went in there, you faced prejudice off rip. Guy looked at you like, oh no, ain't no way this
Yeah.
young man could be in here purchasing this vehicle.
Mm-mm.
Let me go ahead and get him out of here real quick. Was he window shopping? And you
Right.
got discounted payments, tint, a cleaning from the on the inside of the car,
Right.
and the full gas
And a
tank.
full gas tank.
Yeah,
I think the
that's
big thing that a lot of people need to recognize there and the power in which he had in that situation all came from one thing: willing to say no, willing to walk away. He had exactly what he wanted right there in the palm of his hands. He could have just shelled out the money for it and just got it, forget it, I don't care.
Hmm.
But still went
mhm.
ahead and made the best of the situation, even through adversity. And that's definitely something to take
Because
note of.
truth be told,
Definitely.
had I just walked in there and he was just cool straight from jump, man, I would have bought that car no tint, half a tank, like
Just
dirty,
right up
like just
Right.
front.
just because of how bad, like I said, I wanted that car, and Even like
Walking
I said,
Man.
as a kid, just seeing that car, I'm like, oh man, I don't
Hmm.
care how that car come. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that. Like that's for
Yeah,
me.
especially when you have the money
Yeah,
for it too.
yeah,
I've know at least I found myself, and I'm sure a lot of people, other people, who when you do come into some money, you tend to stop looking for them deals at times. You just
right.
kind
Yeah,
of
you
like,
just like
hey
I got
man,
it.
He said, I ain't getting no
it
444
I'm
today.
ordering a
No
$10 meal,
sir,
but
no
it's
sir.
$35 tax on DoorDash. Fuck it, I got the money. Fuck it,
Right.
I'm gonna just go ahead order
Look at the
that
bill.
through.
$10. I'm gonna
Right.
throw a $50 tip on there because I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
just because. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
cause, just cause. You always gotta keep in mind the best for you. Find the best you can, no matter
Yeah,
how good
man.
it gets for you. You
Yeah,
gotta keep
man.
moving forward. That was a big thing that I think a lot of people should definitely take notice in both of those stories that y'all gave. Both powerful tales in the mental field, being able to
Yeah.
get through these.
Why, man? I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You said something in that story. When I heard it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask him this. He's talking about them cars, man. And he's talking about them cars the way you love them so much. Sound like you was a punch buggy type of guy in the car back in the day, man. Just the way you was talking about them cars. Not gonna lie to you. I definitely would have been scared sitting in the back seat with you. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie to
yeah,
you.
yeah. It got
Sound like you
real.
definitely
You
get
know
some
what I'm
licks.
saying? It got real active back there in that back seat, man.
I'm talking about
That
I'm talking on the way to church. Amen.
don't matter.
Right
Don't
there.
matter. I don't care, bro. I don't care if we was on the church bus, the pastor driving the church bus. I don't care.
Oh
Pastor,
man,
you getting punched in the back of that head if I see a charge over there.
It's on site. It's just that.
it's on
Yeah.
site. Uh.
Hmm.
Well, I'd like to thank you both for taking the time and going ahead and joining me on this, telling your own personal stories. And we'd love to hear from those listening, your own
Yes.
personal stories or your own just insights on mental health. We'd also like to make this, like I said it before, and I'll say it again, this is the People's Podcast, the People's Wolf Pack. So what we really do
Hey, for the people
want
in
to
the
do
back.
is hear from you guys. We want to hear questions. We want to hear topic suggestions. We want to hear comments, good, bad, ugly, anything from A to Z. We're all ears because we're not only trying to help, but we're also trying to learn.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I'd like to just go ahead and plug Inside Wolves once again. Follow us on IG, Inside Wolves, Twitter, Inside Wolves One, and then YouTube and TikTok, Inside Wolves Entertainment. That's where we'll be posting all kinds of things. We'll be posting the podcast. We'll be posting comedy skits and clips. Like I said, I'm a digital artist, so you'll be for sure seeing some art up there. You'll be seeing some merch coming in as well. And hey, more to come from this. So I'd like to thank you guys for listening. And this was Inside Wolves Podcast. Thank you.
Definitely. Tap in,
Definitely.
guys.
Yeah, that shit sounded good.
Cool.